Hello, lovelies. Welcome back, or welcome to the dollhouse. I am your yarn host, Kira. It's been a week. It's been a weekend. It's like Tuesday. It hasn't even been a weekend. This has been a weekend. Quick intro to stuff and things. I made the hat. On this one, I used Bernat Handicrafters, just the little, they used to be 50 gram skeins. They're what, 42.5 gram skeins now. I used about a skein and a half. I made 2 of these hats. I used 3 skeins, but I have like little tiny bit left. So I would say if you're going with the little skeins, skein and a half. Or you can just use the big skein. I'm going to make it in this color next. This is Bernat Handicrafter, 42.5 grams, 1.5 ounces, 71 yards for the Bernat Handicrafter. And this is the color Psychedelic. And this is Lily Sugars and Cream. Sugar and Cream? Lily Sugar and Cream. Why do we add S's to things? I can't be the only one that does that. It's like everybody says I'm going to Joann's. It's Joanne, but why do we all call it Joann's? It's like, I don't know. Lily Sugar and Cream. Big horkin cone. Ooh, cotton. These are great for making dish towels. Or whatever. But dish towels, I can just crank dish towels out one after the other with one of these. Both of these yarns are a 4-weight. This one has stats in really big letters, so I couldn't see it. It's a minute today, I'm sorry. This is 14 ounces, 674 yards. And the pattern that I figured this out with will work with any 4-weight yarn with a size 5 hook. I know you're supposed to use a 5.5 with most 4-weight yarns. Trust me, I know what I'm doing. Sometimes. But size 5 hook. I did make one out of bamboo, but I've already mailed that out, so don't have that one to show you. The bamboo is very heavy though, so it like weighs down the brim. So I am going to get things set up, and I am going to teach you how to make the Jellyfoot sun hat. Grab your 4-weight cotton, grab your size 5 crochet hook, pair of scissors, as always, and a darning needle, because for some reason we have to say that in the beginning. And let's get started. Okay, we're going to try this camera angle. This is my second tutorial ever. Please be patient with me. Yarn. Always want to start with a slip knot. I make my slip knots so it slides on the tail. So when you pull the tail, it gets tighter. And when you pull the working yarn, it gets looser. I made too big of a tail because I don't need that much to sew in. You want to leave yourself a little bit of room, especially for the beginning of hats, because you have to sew the tail in anyway. If you leave a little extra tail, you can make sure that that hole in the top closes up completely. I personally don't like magic rings. You can magic ring this if you like. I don't like magic rings. So I am going to single chain 4 and then go right in this first stitch here, and that is going to work like your magic ring. So you're going to make 12 double crochets all in this first stitch. And that'll give you a good base to start. Should have got a yarn butler out for this. Okay, the first chain doesn't count. So 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And if your hole starts getting a little bit bigger while you're doing this, don't worry, you can always pull the tail when you're done and cinch it right up. 10, 11, 12. Now before I close it, I'm going to count. This first chain doesn't count as anything. That's just your first chain. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11. No, I gotta count again because doing it backwards for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12. Okay. After your 12 double crochets, you can pull your ring a little bit, close it up. You want to go into the top of the first double crochet. Ignore the chains. Go into the top of the first double crochet, and you want to slip stitch your first row closed and chain 1. Now that'll give you your little circle, and you can pull the tail. And if yours doesn't shut all the way, you can just stitch it when you're finished. Now that chain 1 doesn't count for anything and will not count for anything for the rest of the pattern. That's just next row. So this row, you want to make 2 double crochets in every double crochet. So you want to have 24 by the time you get back around to the top. And I will meet you when we have 2 double crochets in every stitch. I will meet you when we get back around to this side. Okay, we are back to where we started. Round 2. You want to close the same way. This first chain doesn't count as anything. You want to go to the first stitch in the top of your double crochet, pull a loop through, slip stitch that on, and chain 1. And there we have row 2. Now row 3, we're going to start the expansion rows. When you expand from a circle, you need to make sure that your expanses are evenly spaced. Now the first one, this third row, we are going to do 1 single crochet in the first chain in that same stitch. In that same stitch that you slipped into, we're going to do 1 double crochet. And the next stitch is going to get 2 double crochets. And we're just going to do that the whole way around. Just alternating 1 double crochet and 2 double crochets until we get back to the beginning again. and that will make sure that your increase goes out evenly, and then it stays circular. So 1 double crochet in this stitch, and then 2 double crochets in this stitch, and I will meet you when we get back to here. And we're back to our last stitch, and in this last stitch you should be putting 2 double crochets in that same stitch, and then go up to the top of your first double crochet, pull a loop through, and slip stitch that in, chain 1, and that's row 3. So far, this is almost the top of the hat finished. Now, I prefer aluminum hooks when I work with cotton. I just find it slides easier. You can use whatever hook you want. You can make this hat with a larger size hook. It'll just turn out a little bit bigger. I mean, I wouldn't go crazy and make it with an 8, but you could do like a 5.5 and it'll just end up a little bit bigger. But this is going to vary depending on the size of the head you're making it for anyway. If you're making this for a child, it's done. The top is done. If you're making it for you, you might need 1 or 2 more rounds. Now, since we're doing circle increases, this next row is going to be 2 singles. So go back into that same stitch that you slip stitched into, go back into that same stitch and do a single double crochet, and the second stitch gets 1 double crochet, and then the next stitch gets 2 double crochets. So our pattern for this round is 1 1 2. So you do a single, and then another single. You don't do singles, you do double crochets. You do a single double crochet, which sounds stupid. I'm gonna have to come up with a different term. You do 2 singles. No, you do 2. My brain hurts too much for this. Each stitch has single, single, double. So there's 1 stitch, 1 stitch, and then you do 2 double crochets in this one. So this is going to have 1 double crochet, and then the next stitch is going to have 1 double crochet. The next stitch is going to have 2 double crochets. And then you just repeat that the whole way around until you get to here. I try to make sense. I really do, I promise. So 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, and then 2 into the 3rd stitch. So I will meet you when we get back over here. So now that my cat knocked everything down and all wonky and lopsided, here, have a closer look. We're on our last couple stitches, and we have 1 2 3 stitches left. So you're gonna put 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, and then 2 double crochets. Then you are going to go into that top of the first double crochet right here, and like all the other ones, pull a loop through, slip stitch to close, and chain 1. Now I have a small head. My small head fits if this is around the size of my knuckles when I put my palm down, right? My pinky, if it hits this pinky knuckle, we're good. So we're good on me. If you need a bigger hat than this, you can do another round. Do it the same way, except this time you would do 4 single crochets. No, you would do 4 double crochets in each stitch, and then you would do 2 in the next, and then 4 double crochet, and then 2 in the next. So you would just do 4 and then 2 in the next one. For me, this is a good size, so I am going to start on the sides of it. I will stop here and return tomorrow. Okay, so we have our basic top to the hat now. We're going to go over to the first loop in this first double crochet. I'm going to go through both of the top loops and just slip stitch to join. And in that same loop, now we have the top done. Now we're going to start on the sides of the hat. So we are not doing any increases or decreases. We're just going to keep going. So this round, in that same stitch where you put your slip stitch, we are going to do 1 half double. And that is going to be all the way around. So yarn over, hook through, pull a loop through, yarn over, and then pull through all 3. That's your basic half double. So you're going to want a half double around, and this will start to create the sides of your hat as you half double. I find that the half double stitch is a little bit more compact and really seems to add a bit of structure going from the top of the hat to the sides. So keep doing your half doubles all the way around, and I will meet you back here. Now you'll see as we get around, see the edge starting to curl up? That's because we're not adding any extra stitches, and it's supposed to do that. We can just as easily curl that down as we're working so it doesn't get in the way. I haven't finished this row yet. I just figured I'd bring that up since, you know, not everybody knows. So, continuing with the half doubles all the way around. And you can choose your own stitches. I'm just giving you a structure to work from. You don't have to do this exactly like I do, but if you don't know how to make a hat, hopefully this will help, and then you'll be able to build off of that and figure if you want to do, you know, half doubles and then skip a stitch and do a single. I think I messed that one up. I got a little piece of, every once in a while I get an extra little loop of cotton, so I gotta take a stitch out. But this works with any yarn. I use these particular stitches because I like how it makes the structure of the hat, Now we're at the last stitch, and we want to go into the top of the first half double here, not this chain. You want to go into the top of the first half double and just slip stitch without losing your loops. There we go. Slip stitch, chain one, and then that's it. That's not it, but that's it for your first horizontal rows. I guess if it's a hat, they're going to be. Anyway, that's it for your first making a hat going down size row. And you'll see if you put it on its face, you'll see how it starts to crown. Now we're just going to do 2 more rows of half doubles, just like we did. So this first loop doesn't count as anything. That just counts as your moving up loop. So you want to do a half double into that same stitch. Every once in a while you gotta be a little fidgety because sometimes the cotton comes unplied, but you know your yarn, you know how to work with it. And this hat actually works in cotton, in acrylic, in bamboo, in alpaca. I have made this hat in so many different fabrics just to make sure. Now I use a smaller hook and more stitches, but I use the same structure when I'm making one out of bamboo, because bamboo yarn has a very heavy drape to it. So you want to make sure that you don't turn a bamboo hat into one of those objects that grows during the day. So you start off with a perfectly fitting bamboo hat, but the weight of the drape, if you make it in a larger size hook, the weight of the drape will just stretch the yarn out. So I like making these in cotton for summer and acrylic for fall and spring. Though I have my first round of bamboo hats in the wash. I have not blocked and washed anything, so my first round of bamboo hats is in the wash, and I'll let you know how that goes afterwards. After it's washed, hopefully it won't grow as much. But I'm sure we've all had, you know, that one shirt, that one sweater that you put it on in the morning and it fits, and by the time 5 o'clock rolls around, you might as well be wearing a dress. Yeah, you're trying to avoid that. And one of the best ways to avoid your yarn being overly stretchy in crochet is to look for structurally important stitches that will keep it in shape and keep it the way it's supposed to be going. So since the double crochets are a more compact stitch, no, the half double crochets are a more compact stitch than the double crochets that we're using on the rest of the hat. It gives it a little bit of structure and helps it stand up on its own. I'm still getting used to doing where the camera can see, but we're just doing half doubles still. The easy peasy part of this hat is you don't have to know numbers. You don't have to know how many stitches, because my head is different than your head. So I can tell you how many stitches I need to get the top of my hat, but my head is different than your head. So you might need less stitches or more stitches to get a proper fit on the head you're making a hat for. I guess I don't do tutorials so much as guidelines, suggestions. I like to make a base product and then kind of work off of that. So this hat works really well if you want to do more open areas in it. you can just skip spaces. I do find that making the first row after the crown of your hat, making the first row half doubles, just solid half doubles, really keeps the structure intact longer and does make it a bit of a sturdier wearable. And we're coming up to the last stitch. And just like the last row, when you get to the last stitch, you're just going to slip stitch into the top of your first half double, not into this chain here. See the chain here? You don't want to stitch into that. You want to stitch into the top of the first double crochet. Half double crochet. You want to slip stitch into the top of the first half double. So that gives us 2 rows of half doubles, and we have a teeny tiny hat. So we are going to do 3 rounds of half doubles. So as again, going into that same stitch, 3 rounds of half doubles. And I lost my, there we go. So another round of half doubles all the way around. And you can slap the paws if you need to. I have to get used to putting my arms out further so you can see what I'm doing. Like, you need to watch me doing half doubles, but you know, I will pause it. I will finish my round. I will be right back with you. Okay, I am done my 3rd row of half doubles. So I am just going to slip stitch and make a loop. Now we're going to do 3 layers, 3 rows. Are you new in this? I'd never guess. We're going to do 3 rows of plain double crochets. So you want to go into that same stitch that you made your loop out of. You want to go into that same stitch and just do a regular old half double, and just do 1 half double in each stitch all the way around. The half double gives you a little bit more height. It also gives you a little bit more airflow, which is good in the summer. So it's a little bit of a looser stitch. And it also makes you use less yarn than if you were just doing an entire hat out of half doubles. So we are going to double crochet all the way around, and I will meet you back at the end of the row. Okay, so we ended the round of double crochets, and we're going to go into the top of the first double crochet, and we're going to slip stitch. Just grab a loop and pull it through, and then chain 1. Now we're going to do 2 more rounds of just double crochets. So make sure you go back into that same stitch and put 1 double crochet in there and 1 in the next one, and just double crochet your way across until we get back here. And we're coming to the end of the second row of double crochets. So now we are going to slip stitch to close this round. Again, you want to slip stitch not into here, you want to slip stitch into the top of that first double crochet. And we have one more round of half doubles, so you chain one and we go around one more time. So one more row of half doubles. You'll have to excuse my shaky hands. I'm trying my best. Though I did think I managed to get most of the engine grease out from under my fingernails. I tried to do that, you know, because that's kind of gross. But also, you know, when you're a mom, sometimes you have to mess around with somebody's engine and make sure they can get places. So we're just going to continue. This is our third row of double crochets. When I was designing this hat, I had a friend of mine ask me to make a floppy summer hat, not necessarily a bucket hat, but I'm sure you can come up with something. And then I asked him about colors, and I wasn't thinking of fabrics and, you know, what kind of fibers I had. I just told him what colors I had, and then he said what color he wanted it, and I said, oh crap, I only have that in bamboo. I don't know if this is going to work in bamboo, but let me see. And this is what I made. And it did work in bamboo. And then I've made one for myself out of cotton, and it also works out of cotton. And then I showed him a picture of the finished hat that I designed for him as floppy summer hat, and he said, now I feel bad just going with one color. He said, could you make me another one? I said, oh yeah, that's no problem. I said, you want a variegated? You want? He's like, I just feel like it needs more color. So I made him one out of Bernat Handicrafter in psychedelic. You need color? Here you go. Have all the colors. So I just sent those out today. Today is the 24th of July, and it is a Wednesday. I just got those out in the mail today because we had to put more fluids in the car to baby the car to make it work. I got those out. I got some keychains mailed out that I made that people have ordered. I will put a link in the description if you want to see my lovely wares. You're welcome to peruse my little shop, and if anything piques your interest or you want something that's kind of like that's on there but different, let me know. I'll do customs. I have no problems with customs most of the time, and if I have a problem with the custom, generally I will let the person know that I'm sorry, I can't do that, or I don't know how to do that, and I will try to do that, but if it doesn't work out, I may not be able to do that. I'm willing to try anything. When I first started doing blankets, one of my friends asked me if I could make a blanket with roses on it. I misunderstood, and I thought he wanted 3D roses on it. He just wanted to know if I could graph gan. But I did not clear that up, I ended up making a big 3D rose on each corner. And he's like, that's not what I asked for, but that's impressive. So I try to keep people happy. I try to keep customers happy. And like I said, if I don't know how to make something, a lot of times I will research the basics and just kind of put my own spin on it. Like you could do this hat in so many different stitches and so many different ways and so many different kinds of fiber. But this seems like a good base for any kind of general flat brimmed hat. Now it's not going to look flat brimmed when we're done. You can use something like florist wire to actually make the brim not floppy. Now we're going to go into this first double crochet into the top of the first double crochet here, and we're going to slip stitch. And so far your hat has a crown. It's got your 3 rows of half doubles and then a 3-row double crochet. Now you want to do another 3 rows of half doubles. We're going to do that exactly the same way. Go into the same stitch and do your first half double, and just put 1 in each stitch all the way around. And I will meet you back at the end of this round. Now, I like my hats to sit right above my ear. You can take this at any time and try it on your bean and see what length works for you. I know this length works for me. So to end the round, you want to go into this first half double here, not the gap space, and end your round and chain 1. And you can try your hat on now. I am going for 2 more double crochet. No, I am going for 2 more half double rounds, and then we'll get to the brim. So just like every other row, you make sure you go into that same stitch there where you slip stitched into, and we're going to do another row of half doubles. I tried to pick yarn and a hook that was easy to see, so I figured this hook is kind of matte and the yarn itself isn't too dark. So hopefully you can see what I'm doing. And I will meet you when we get to the end of the half double rounds. So we are at the end of the 3rd round of half double crochets, and now we're going to slip stitch to close and chain 1, and this is the main body of your hat. Put it on your head, make sure it's long enough. If it's too short, add an extra row. If it's longer than you want, subtract a row. This is the size I want for my hat, so I am going to start working on the brim. Now the brim is easy peasy. You just have to do half double. We're going into, we're doing double stitches. we're going into the same stitch we slipped into. So what we're doing is the first gets 1 double crochet, and now we need to expand to make the brim, so the next gets 2 double crochets. So we're going to repeat that all along the first row. We're going to do 1 double crochet, and then we're going to do 2 double crochets. And you want to repeat that pattern all the way till you get back here. So it's 1 double crochet and then 2 double crochets all around the hat. And I will meet you again back over here. And we are back at the beginning of the first round of the brim. Now you want to take your hook and go into the top of the first double crochet, not this loop over here, but the first double crochet. You go through there and slip stitch, and then make a loop. So slip stitch in 1 chain. I have a very big thing of yarn, so I'm just going to grab some in advance because I don't have my yarn butler on me. But this first round of your hat should, if you position your hat correctly, should sit flat all the way around. See that? Flat. So, the next row of your brim, since we're going to keep expanding, the next row of your brim still double crochets. We're going to go right into that same stitch that you slip stitched into and do 1 double crochet and try and keep that from stop wiggling. And then your second one, you're going to do 1 double crochet, and then you're going to do 2 in the third stitch. So this round is going to be double crochet, double crochet, and then 2 double crochet in the same stitch. And that just keeps your brim expanding and keeps it rather flat. So I'm going to keep doing that, and you can pause and take your time and meet me back here when you're done this row. I will come back and see you then. And we're back at the last half double of the second row of the brim. Now you want to go into the top of the first half double here, not this chain space, but the first half double, and you want to slip to close. And this is where I am finishing my hat. So I like to pull through loops twice. And silly me, I don't have my sewing scissors, so I just had to use regular scissors. But I like to hold the bottom of this knot and pull, and then push the knot down closer to the material. And then you can sew in that tails however you want. I like to sew mine in at least 3 directions and going in between some of the plies so it'll lock itself in. But that should give you a flat topped hat with a flat brim. And Bob's your uncle, the Jellyfoot hat. So I hope you enjoyed making this with me. This is my Jellyfoot hat. I think it is the perfect summer hat. It's the perfect basic hat. You can do so many things with this. If you want to make another row around and make a bigger brim so you can do the Gilligan thing, you just have to increase the circle, so you do 4 single stitch. No. You do 3 single stitch and that and 3. I'm having a day, but I'm trying. I really am. You can make a larger brim on this by just doing the next row with increases. So you would do 3 double crochets in the first 3 stitches. You would do a double crochet, double crochet, double crochet, and then you would do your 2 double crochets in the next row. And that will give you a longer brim, and then it makes these cool little pleaty flaps. Or if you put a wire in this, you could make this just a flat rimmed hat, or a cowboy hat, or what else. You could even take one of these and put an applique on the front. This would look cute with a little star or a little leaf, or Halloween's coming up, little pumpkin, little ghost. It's your basic all around hat. You need to throw something on your head before you go out the door, the Jellyfoot hat is there for you. I hope you had fun. You have any questions, let me know. If you make your Jellyfoot hat and you're happy with it, send me a picture. Send it down to my email, kiracrochet@gmail.com, and I'll put it up on the next video. I'll show off what you're making. I am kind of happy that I have made something that I can share with everybody. So, let me know how your hat goes. I'm going to end this for now because it's going to take me forever to figure out how to edit this. But as always, check out my Buy Me a Coffee. The description is also, the link is also in the description. I think that's it. Let me know if you have any questions. I hope this works out. Good luck. And I will see you next time. Until then, be good, be kind to yourself. Sprinkle kindness like seeds. It's free, and we need more, because the world's getting weird, and not weird in a fun way. It's getting weird in like a bad way. So hopefully none of that is getting to you. But I will see you next time. Thank you for visiting. If you could give me a like, a subscribe, that would be awesome. But I'm not going to tell you to smash buttons or anything. Just, that would be cool if you did. And we'll see you next time. Bye, lovelies.